My mother was a frustrated artist. The war intervened in her art education, so she saw a talent in me and nurtured that. And in 1965 we came to Canberra as a family. We were transferred here, and my mother and I both went to art school together, and I studied fine arts, and the fine arts was in Canberra, and we continued in Sydney. At just turned 17, we moved to Sydney and I studied graphic design. I moved away from fine arts because my parents encouraged me to do a job where you got paid to do a job. My first exhibition, solo exhibition, I sold all but one piece of work and wouldn't have made enough money to survive for more than 3 months. So I thought that was probably good advice from my parents to do the graphic design. So I put the fine arts on hold and went into graphic design. And then in 2005, I finally had the opportunity to leave the graphic design behind and take up a career as a fine artist. Well, the reason I took up portrait painting was, again, to be in that position where I would meet new and interesting people. And I didn't want to be one of those artists locked up in a studio and doing my work. That was not the sort of person I was. I wanted to be out there, and that's why I did the portrait project. I did a project before this particular project called Wild and Intimate Evenings at the Front Cafe. And that was my introduction. I wanted to find a place that was bohemian and full of life and exciting for me and stimulating. And from that, I thought, now I'll go out into the wider community and to find out what's going out there. And I started painting people's portraits, people I wanted to meet. And then the Canberra Centenary came along and it fitted perfectly with my project. Faces of Canberra is a 3-year project where I paint portraits of the people in Canberra who make it an interesting and unique place to live. A lot of people say that Canberra has no heart and soul, and I think through these portraits I'm able to dispel that belief and get down to the nitty-gritty of who the person is. Because not only am I painting their portrait, but I'm also gathering story about each person. And these stories and portraits will all come together in a publication to introduce them to the rest of the Canberra community. And I thought it was especially important to have a particular event, an unveiling event, to celebrate each individual as their portraits were completed. And people who knew them could say things about them and what they had done to enrich their lives. And in 2013, with the help of Canberra Centenary funding, I'm able to put all of them back together in an exhibition in May, and in the Tuggeranong Arts Centre have also requested that I exhibit the same exhibition in July at the Sydney Nolan Art Gallery.
Sitting on bikes on the set of Codgers. Having a lovely time, I must say.
Oh, I can't believe this.
And you remember Coralie and I'm Charles, and this is stage queens again.
Well, I knew Charles Oliver through my brother, and he and my sister have often said that I ought to paint Charles or his friend Coralie Woods. I'd never met Coralie before. And she'd also been recommended by a number of other people. As part of this project is getting the community to also nominate people. I've actually filled my quota of 25 people, but having met Coralie and Charles, I'm going that extra mile and do their portraits because I think that they're very colourful and exciting and interesting people, and they're very, very much a part of Canberra. My daughter's just designed a website for me, and that's on barbart.com.au, and that's the best place to find me with the phone numbers and email addresses and whatnot, and to see some of my work.